And we are back. We're moving into our third and final segment for the morning. So I'll tell you what, we're about to celebrate Teachers Day. Teachers, 2021, of course. And this year they're celebrating under the theme, Reimagining the Future, Education, Community, and Wellness. Marlene, as per usual, we've got our two junior hosts who are always with us. And today, they'll actually be taking the reins.
Well, we can talk to teachers and we can ask them questions, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
Just recently, but been a while since we've been in a classroom. So we called up Noelle and AJ because they have been fantastic co-hosts with us in the past year.
Yes.
And we asked them to put the teachers in the hot seat.
Yeah.
So first up, we have AJ Crawford as our host, and he is going to be interviewing Arlette Messiah from Belize Rural Primary School. So let's find out what kind of answers AJ was able to get from her.
Good morning. What is your name?
Good morning. I am Arlette Messiah, and I am a teacher at Belize Rural Primary School.
Okay. So for my first question, how long have you been a teacher and why did you decide to enter this profession?
Okay, I've been a teacher for over 20 years, 7 years in a private school and 13 plus years in the government school. I entered teaching because I love teaching, I love children, and that's basically it. I just love teaching.
It must be pretty fun to teach then.
Yes, it is.
Okay, for the next question. How has your normal way of teaching and student-teacher relationship been affected since the pandemic began?
Well, it has affected us it could be negatively and positively as well. We miss our face-to-face with our kids. We want to see them, we want to feel them, we want to touch them. We have lengthy conversations, and when we're not with them, we actually miss them. In our rural school, we don't usually have access to internet service, so we usually call them on the phone, but it's not the same as actually being with them.
That's really, really sad.
Yes.
Okay, for question number 3. Tell us about the preparations you have done or intend to do for the return of physical classroom teaching.
Okay, what we have done, part of it was mandated by the government, where we had to set our seating, 3 feet apart and make sure that they're not interacting with each other. So for that, it's going to be rough for us when we actually get back in, because we have, I know your teacher does it as well, where you guys go in groups and you have all this fun doing projects and so forth. And because of the pandemic, you guys can't be touching each other or touching your pencils and so forth. So we have to be watching you guys carefully, and it's actually only one-on-one we'll be able to do when school reopens. So we are going to adjust ourselves to that to make sure that you guys get exactly what you need to get.
Okay. Question number 4. What has been the most rewarding part of being a teacher?
There are many rewards of being a teacher. The impact on the children's lives, the spark that we get when you guys actually get something. I just get to create my own environment, my own classroom, my own little world inside my little classroom. So that's basically it.
Okay, that's a pretty cool reward. Question number 5. What has been the most challenging part of your job?
The most challenging part of my job was not being able to reach all the children. There are some children who just don't want to be there. So it's our job to work triple time, trying to get them in the school mode or the learning mode. But everybody is meant to be something, so something good will come out of them eventually.
Okay, that's very, very, very challenging.
It is.
Final question. What changes would you like to see happen for education in the near future?
I wonder if we have enough time for that. Just kidding. All right, the first one, I would cut back on all the different testing that is being done, like the BJAT, the PSC, and so forth, because there are some children who actually get nervous when it comes to testing. I don't know if you're like that, but there are some children who actually get nervous, and then when they see their score at the end, it makes their self-esteem really go down. So that's really, really sad for them and also for us. The next thing I would like to see would be students or children getting more involved in creating parts of the curriculum, because you guys know what you want to learn. You guys are the best teachers for us in certain aspects, because you will know what you need to get and how you need to get it would be awesome. And the last one would be mentorship, getting a mentor and so forth. I was at another government school one time where we had mentors from BTL come in. So they took their lunch break and they came in and they spoke with the children one-on-one to like what you want to be when you grow up and so forth, and bringing them little gifts like books, and that really helped the children. So that's it.
That's a lot of things that could be in the future, but I believe you guys.
Yeah, we could do it.
You could definitely do it. Okay, for the next question, what grade would you give yourself as a teacher and why?
I would give myself maybe between 90 and 95, because I give myself to my children. I go over and beyond for my kids. So I try my best with them. There was a child in my class where I taught at the private school, where she was deaf. So what I did was enroll myself in a school in St. Stella Maris, and I taught myself, they taught me how to do sign language. So I don't remember most of it now, but I think I could manage.
I think sign language is pretty cool. Okay, for the final question. As a child, did you used to give trouble in school?
All right. In school, no. I didn't give trouble in school, but after school, yes.
I was about to say, are you sure about that? Okay. And that's all. Thank you, Miss Arlette.
You're very, very welcome.
It's a very good reporter. He caught that laugh, right? It's like, that doesn't seem like it's completely accurate. Lovely report there by AJ, our junior co-host.
But I'll tell you what, he has some very tough questions, some very good questions though, because you know, it's so enlightening to see that the student is actually asking the teacher the question and asking her to grade herself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, that's part of what I wanted to say, just being able to hear teachers. And that's just one story. People have no idea, like, how many. You will always have issues with some teachers, and it's the same thing we talk about with any other sector. But there's so many teachers who go above and beyond. Imagine going to learn sign language to help a hearing impaired child in your class. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that teachers do, and we really do take it for granted. But let's move on to interview 2.
Definitely. We've got interview 2. Noelle Sabido, who, of course, is our next junior host. She'll be doing an interview, or she's done an interview with teacher Samuel Nicholson of EP York. And let's find out what she uncovered. So here we go.
Good morning, and thank you for allowing me to interview you. Happy Teachers Day to you and to all teachers. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Samuel Richard Nicholson Jr. I have been teaching for over 10 years. I enjoy teaching, it's so much fun, and my passion, my hobbies lie in traveling and dealing with sports.
I'm 9 years old and I have a lot of careers to choose from. When you were my age, did you always wanted to be a teacher, or did you wanted to be something else?
To be honest, that is going back some years, but when I was 9, when I was younger, I can honestly say that I did not want to be a teacher. There were a lot of professions that I really wanted to be. Like, I remember wanting to become a fireman. I remember wanting to become a pilot. I remember wanting to become a dentist. I remember also wanting to become a gynecologist. But when I went studying, I realized that teaching is something that came natural to me, and I delved into it, and that is how I'm here, and I'm glad that I'm here in this profession.
What was your dream career? Like, what did you really want to be?
I really wanted to be a pilot. That was my dream. But going to school, I realized, you know what, certain subjects were not for me. And when I went into the education field, I realized, you know what, this is not so bad. I like this, I enjoy this. I enjoy, you know, imparting knowledge and presenting, and that is why I'm here today as a teacher.
What was the journey like to become the teacher you are today? Was it easy, tough? How did you do it?
The journey was difficult. It was filled with a lot of emotions, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. You know, at times you find that, you know, you have to reach out to certain students in different ways, and all of that have, you know, helped me, you know, become the person that I am. I'm here because of the students that I've taught, and they have taught me so much as well in becoming the teacher that I am.
Thanks for sharing. I hope your response is an inspiration for those young kids or young people who want to become like a successful professional or a successful teacher like you.
I hope so too. All they need to do is just realize, go for their dreams and do what makes them happy, and they will do well.
What has been the most memorable or rewarding moment in your teaching career?
The most memorable part of my teaching career is seeing my students graduate and move on in becoming professionals. Seeing them working and handling their own makes me realize, you know what, I did a good job. And the many thank yous that I get from them, that is what makes my job, for me, so special. Seeing my kids, you know, surpass their abilities and being someone in society.
I know we're getting back to some normalcy from the whole COVID-19 situation. I know EP York has resumed some face-to-face learning. What is the greatest challenge that you or teachers are facing today in that respect?
In terms of the pandemic, the biggest challenge we're having here at EPR is the sense of that internet logging. Most students are having trouble, you know, getting access to internet, and when they do get access to the internet is either too slow or they can't connect, and that poses a lot of problems because then we're not seeing them, they're at home, and then that poses some challenges in getting information to them. But for the others that are here at school, it's a bit easier because then they're here and we're able to, you know, help them with the internet, since the school provides free internet for students.
So what are 3 words that your colleagues, administrators, or students use to describe you?
Whew, you're putting me on the spot here. But that's a good one. I think they would say that I'm very competitive, I'm very dedicated, and I'm very humble. So competitive, dedicated, and humble are the 3 words they would use to describe me.
Awesome. What advice or message would you like to give students at this stage in their life?
All right, so for students, this is what I would want to tell them. Just go for your dreams. Aim high, aim big. The sky is the limit. Whatever you want to do, you can. As long as you push yourself, the dream is yours. You can make any dream a reality as long as you believe.
Okay, so what grade would you give yourself as a teacher and why?
I would give myself a B+. The reason for that is I believe that there's always room for improvement, no matter what area you're at. You keep on learning, whether it's from my colleagues, my administrators, or even students. As teachers, we also learn on a daily basis, and we keep on learning.
That's cool. And as a child, did you used to give trouble in school? Were you always a troublemaker?
I can honestly say all my teachers, they enjoyed having me in class. I was not a troublemaker. I used to do my work, and for the most part, I was on top of my class. I'm not a troublemaker at all. I've not been into trouble. I think the morals and all my ideologies came from my parents, and coming from God-fearing parents, I believe that they molded me into the person that I am today, and I believe in being someone that is upright in society.
And so the final one is, you know, the teachers, they're on strike right now, and what lesson would you want your students to learn in this?
I knew this question was coming, but as students, I would want you guys to see that, you know, you have two folds. You either stand up for what you believe in, what you think is right, or you can carry on not caring, not being interested in what's going on. But at the end of the day, you need to know what affects you. When it's affecting you, it affects the country. So at the end of the day, it all depends on the teacher's personal views when it comes to the striking. Each teacher will have their own view on why they are striking or why they're not striking. So I would want my students to understand and know that, you know what, you need to understand it for you. What do you understand by the strike? Why are the teachers striking? If they can't answer that, then they won't be able to tell why the good governance is needed.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for everything that you have done. And another happy Teachers Day to you and to all the teachers who are watching right now. A very blessed and happy Teachers Day.
Thank you so much, Noelle. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you for all the hard questions as well.
Goodbye.
Sabito asking the tough questions.
You know, right?
How you grade yourself. And I must say he said a B+ because there's always room to
For
grow.
improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was perfect.
You know, I just feel like I could take the rest of the morning off, have Noelle or AJ sit here and
they're bored
you
and
know.
capable too. They're able to do that. You know what? It's just a blessing to know that these children are able to ask these questions, but more so that the teachers aren't. They don't mind to answer these questions. They are the ones who are back and forth with the students, and they know them, and so the student with the teacher. But I'll tell you what, Marlene, we also
Before
have...
we do that, we do have some breaking news that we want to get in here, of course. There were reports earlier this morning that there was another drug plane that was another suspected drug plane that was found in northern Belize. And there you go, there's an image of the plane. In fact, we are told from sources that the police were tracking multiple planes, but the commissioner has confirmed that one was found this morning near Tres Leguas, and no cargo was found or persons on the scene, but they did recover an AK-47 rifle with live ammunition.
Wow.
So that's going to be a part. We'll have further reports in our newscast tonight with the details of this latest illegal landing.
And of course, you can check out our social media page to get some more, but at least the details that we've got at this particular point, and you can check that out on there. As we continue, like we mentioned, we're celebrating Teachers Day 2021 under the theme Reimagining the Future, Education, Community, and Wellness. At this time, we also have another clip. Now, this one is actually prominent faces talk about which teacher was most influential or impactful during their education period and the most valuable lesson they've learned. Check this out.
Most influential teacher for me was Miss Jacqueline Burns. She really taught me that it doesn't matter what obstacles life throws at you, you can always overcome it.
One of my favorite teachers of all times is Mrs. Marin Usher. She was one of the best English teachers at SCA. And I can remember in my last year of high school, I wasn't doing so well because at the start of the school year, I had recently lost a parent and it was impacting my schoolwork. And we had a one-on-one session and she laid out all the assignments that was needed for me to pass that school year. And she said, you know, Vanessa, life will throw hard blows at you, but it's how you come back from that determines how well you fare off in life. And that has stuck with me ever since. Thank you so much, Mrs. Marin Usher.
One of my greatest teachers is Mr. Adrian Trotman. He taught me a very valuable lesson in that you should never set limits for yourself because limits are your greatest setbacks. You just need to make a plan, believe, and you can achieve anything.
And happy Teachers Day to everyone, first and foremost. I think when I look back and try to figure who has been most instrumental in my acquiring knowledge would be definitely a gentleman by the name of Dr. Fernando Molinar, who taught me, actually was my professor at university in Mexico City. He was the one who was in charge of the critical care program. And he taught me definitely how to be the best doctor that I can be, and most importantly, the best human that I can be.
The teacher that was a huge influence on me in primary school was Miss Isagiri. It was probably standard 1 or 2, I don't remember exactly which. She just was so excited, so enthusiastic about everything, and I think when I went into teaching later, I always tried to emulate her attitude. She was excited, but she also stressed the basics to make sure that everybody had the equipment they needed to succeed.
I'm Dr. Jorge Hidalgo. I am wishing all the teachers a wonderful day. I just remember my teacher in primary school that she always taught me respect to each other and responsibility.
My favorite teacher was Miss Venice Saul. She taught me integrated science in 3rd form. And apart from the sciences, the greatest life lesson Miss Saul taught me was the essence of working hard, and it always pays off.
As we observe Teachers Day, I remember Miss Ana Maria Moreno, who was my Infant 1 teacher. And while many people might not remember that period of their life, I do remember her, and I remember what I feel when I think of her, because while I was surrounded by so many children crying, I wasn't crying, but I was also a bit fearful because I knew that I could not be with my mom all day. And so remembering her makes me feel warm and secure, because that's how she made me feel. And I think it's important to recognize those teachers who really make that sort of impact at such an early age. And for me, I think through her teaching, I was inspired and really developed a love for learning, even until now.
Well, the teacher that impacted me the most, thinking about it, takes me back to primary school. I only remember him as Mr. Rosado because we used to refer to teachers by their last name. Valuable lesson. Well, I just guess that he always believed in me, even though I was a troubled child. And I've had the opportunity of meeting him a couple more times as an adult. And every time I meet him, he reminds me that he's proud of me. And so basically, he has been a teacher for life, in my life, from a child in primary school all the way up to adulthood, even when I'm not in school. So, Mr. Rosado, thank you for all the valuable lessons that you have instilled in my life.
I have to say that teachers, it's never really about the classroom, but it is that lesson and that impact from the teacher. They encourage you to critically think, and for that, I'm forever grateful. My father was a history teacher, and my sister, Professor Silvana Woods, continues to teach English as a second language. The passion, the commitment, absolutely astounding. A very dear friend of mine, Fidelia Cuellar, reminds me regularly, herself a teacher, is that the love and passion that teachers bring to the job is incomparable to any other.
Happy Teachers Day to all the teachers who go above and beyond their call of duty to execute their jobs. Definitely my 3 lecturers who provided lifelong lessons for me. Dr. Michael Rosberg, his legacy lives on in me. He taught me the importance of inquiring, seeking deeper knowledge and asking questions. Miss Kendra Hoyt, who taught me the importance of staying interconnected to humanity and manifesting the power of balance, as well as Miss Camille Ellis, who taught me the importance of knowing who you are and never forgetting where you come from. These are lifelong valuable lessons that I take on with me for the entire remainder of my life, and I'm very grateful to them. Happy Teachers Day.
Please allow me to join with you in wishing a happy Teachers Day to all those wonderful professionals who work so very hard day after day across the length and breadth of this country. I was lucky to have grown up in a household where education was given prime importance. I have also been lucky to have had good teachers all along the way. However, one of the persons who stands out most in my mind is Mr. Benito Kokom, my Standard 3 teacher at the Montgomery Primary School. Mr. Kokom instilled in me a love of science and of learning, which has remained with me to this very day. Mr. Kokom, happy Teachers Day to you wherever you may be. It would be remiss of me, however, if I failed to mention several other teachers who have made a lasting impression on me. Persons like Mr. Omer Escalante, Miss Diane Nisbet, Mr. Octavian Castillo, and Mr. Anthony Lord. Thank God for such good Belizean teachers.
Hard.
No, right?
Yeah. All right, on the spot. So let me, this is hard for me. I really do. One, you know, I've said it before, and I have no fear saying it. I was raised by teachers. My mother was a teacher. My sister is a teacher and now in administration, and I've literally just been hanging around classrooms my entire life. So I've been around education for so long. But if I have to think about a teacher that taught me a pivotal lesson, and there have been so many that I would love to acknowledge, but this one moment, I think, redefined my life. That would be my primary school principal, upper school. I was always a very expressive person, very outspoken, very opinionated. It isn't something that is typically encouraged within the school. And so, you know, if I didn't want to do sewing and I wanted to do woodwork, I used to go to the principal. If I didn't like something in a classroom, I used to go to the principal. So, you know, back in those days, that wasn't something welcomed. And I can never forget, one day he pulled me into the office and he said, I can tell that you have a lot of opinions about things, and I am going to give you an opportunity to be able to have a place to express yourself. And he connected me with an organization that was working with children's rights. It was UNICEF at that time. He saw what most people would have seen as a troublesome trait and said, let's pivot it into something else. And it was really, I think, one of the best experiences that I took off from there. So such a critical lesson in how teachers can see potential, even in things that people may see as challenges. And I hope that's not the standard anymore. Children should be outspoken. And he used to always say this thing to us, Mr. Acevedo, I should say, Jose Acevedo, the upper school principal, the principal at Holy Redeemer School. He said, once you've done your best, not even the angels can do better.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Marlene, to be honest with you, I don't know where to start. I'll take a minute though, and I'll tell you that with respect to all teachers, I've got that for them. But I remember those who, all those through primary school, and they all give me the impact that I feel I deserved in life and to set me where I am now. In kindergarten was my aunt, Edna Lino, along with Glendora Guy. In Infant 1, it was teacher Juarez. In Infant 2, it was teacher Jean Lucas. In Standard 1, it was Miss Martha Zoll. Standard 2, it was Mr. Benjamin Westby. Standard 3, it was Nilda Muschamp. Standard 4, it was Jeffrey Zuniga. Standard 5, it was Carl Castillo. Standard 6, it was Clifford King. And those people, from kindergarten to my standards. I also want to say Happy Teachers Day, though, to Dr. Francis Arzu, who actually he played a very important role. Yes. Thank you so very much, Mr. Luke. Thank you, Ms. Janine Neal. Thank you guys so very much. And Happy Teachers Day to you. My favorite teacher, Ms. Glendora Guy.
Oh, we got him
Happy
to one.
Teachers Day.
There you go. John committed to one.
I did. Never, ever a dull time with her.
You know, thank you. And we are in the middle of a strike, and people have many different opinions right now, but let's not lose sight of the fact. Teachers shape who we are. Every single person from, you know, the world's greatest leaders, you know, every person who impacts our lives, they pass through school and they've been in formation by teachers, and we are so grateful for that. So thank you to the teachers. across the country, we wish you a happy Teachers Day. But we have to take a break.
We need to take
and
a
wrap
final
up
break.
the show. We're still over time. We're gonna be back in a few. Please stay tuned.
Yeah.